A very good morning to you all, my dear children. Welcome back to English language class. I hope you all are fine, right? Children, today we are going to start our next chapter, that is lesson 28, sequence of tenses. It's a revision, okay? So, children, what do you mean by sequence of tense? Sequence of tense, it means or it refers to principles according to which the tenses of subordinate clauses are suited to the tenses of principal clause. That means how they are related to each other, how they are dependent to each other. Okay, and this sequence of tenses refers to principle according to which tenses in any discourse are shifted to each other. Right? That is the way in which tenses in each clause follow each other. So, children, sequence of tenses regulates the use of tenses. Okay, and there are few rules to use these tenses correctly and meaningfully. And on the basis of these rules, we must remember at the time of using tenses with principal, that means main clause and subordinate clause, are that the subordinate clause always follow the tense in the principal clause. Okay, this you always keep in mind, that subordinate clause always follow the tense in the principal clause. Clear? Now, children, as I told you that you have to always keep the sequence of tense in your mind. That means we have to follow some rules. Okay, and I told you that tense of the verb in subordinate clause follows the tense of the verb in the main clause. Okay, and according to the rules. So there are two major rules. Rule 1 is, if there is a use of past tense in the principal clause, it must be followed by a past tense in the subordinate clause. So here three examples I have shown here. So here you can see in principal clause is I knew. That subordinate clause is that he wanted to say something. So I knew, this is in past tense, and the subordinate clause is also in past tense. Okay, Shreya succeeded because she worked. Okay, so here Shreya succeeded, principal clause is in past tense, so it is followed by subordinate clause which is also in past tense. I would do this if I were permitted. So from this it is clear to you that if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause also will be in past tense, right? See, the next rule, present or future tense in the principal clause. That means if the principal clause is in present or future tense, it might be followed by any tense required by the sense to convey in subordinate. That means it can be, the subordinate clause can be present or future. Okay, both are accepted. So if and you have to see the requirement. If the principal clause is in present or future tense, you can choose any of the tense. Okay, here you can see example I have given. I think the principal clause, here the principal clause are in present tense and subordinate clause also in present tense. I think that the food is good. You know that she sings like a nightingale. He will know that she is beautiful. So, according to the tense in the principal clause, you can change it if it is present tense or future tense. Most of the time we use present tense in the subordinate clause also. Clear? Children, there is one exception in a rule which I told, that past tense, if the tense principal clause is in past tense, then you have to the subordinate clause also should be in past tense, isn't it? So there is an exception. Past tense in the principal clause might be followed by a present tense in the subordinate clause when when the subordinate clause expresses some daily habits of a universal fact. That means, that is if it is showing the universal truth in the sentence, then the past tense in the principal clause should be followed by present tense in the subordinate clause. Like here example is given. The teacher taught us that the sun rises from the east. Okay, the sun rises from the east is a universal fact, and we had to express it in present tense only. The king said that all humans are mortal. So these are the examples which show that if the principal clause is in present tense, you have to write the subordinate clause in present tense if the sentence expresses daily habit or expresses the universal truth or universal fact. Clear? So children, using these rules, we have to do all the exercises given in this chapter. So let us open our textbook, and please open page number 169 of your textbook. Now, in page number 169, see here two examples are given. He says that he is ready. He said that he was ready. From these two examples, you can come to know the sequence of tense which is used. As I told you earlier, if the principal clause is in present tense, it is followed by present tense. Like it is clear from the first example. He says is present tense, that he is ready. The subordinate clause is in present tense, right? Then second sentence, he said, this is in past tense, that he was ready. Subordinate clause is in past tense. Okay, so these examples also shows the sequence of tenses that is the way in which these tenses follow each other, right? And also I told you that if the principal clause is in present tense, it can be also followed by subordinate clause in future tense. So here example is given. He says that he will be ready. So here principal clause is in present tense, which is followed by future tense. Subordinate clause is in future tense. Clear? So let us do the exercises of this chapter. Let us start with exercise A. Sorry. So what is exercise A? Decide which of the alternative tenses is more likely. Okay, you have to check the principal tense of the principal clause and the tense of the which tense you have to use for the subordinate clause. Right? So let us start. The first one is, I think that he is or was here now. So I think is in present tense, so the subordinate clause should also be in present tense. So what will be the answer? I think that he is here now. Second one, we hoped that you are or were coming. We hoped is in past tense, so what will be the answer? We hoped that you were coming. Third one, I believed that I had made a mistake. I had made a mistake. Both are in past tense. Okay. Fourth one, we hope that you have told him. We hope is in present tense. So the subordinate clause also in present tense. Fifth one, we have told you all that we have told you. That is present tense. That we, what will come here? No, present tense. Okay. Sixth one, they had waited so long that they were tired. Clear? Next, turn your page, question number 7. I thought there was, subordinate clause in past tense. Principal clause is in past tense, so subordinate clause also in past tense. So I thought that there was still time to hand in the homework. Eighth one, he thought that he had forgotten his book. Ninth one, they say that they have now finished. And the last one, we know that they have done it. So this is clear to you people, isn't it? That if the principal clause is in present tense, you have to either use principal clause in subordinate clause in present or future tense, and mostly we use present tense. And then if it is principal clause is in past tense, you have to use subordinate clause in past. Clear? Now, in the same page, page number 170, you can see present and past form of the verb or auxiliary verb is given here. The present form is will, shall, can, may, and its past form are would, should, could, might. Okay. So, as I told you that present tense principal clause, in present tense you can use the subordinate clause. You can use the tense, that is the which tense, that is future tense. You can also use future tense in the subordinate clause. If it is present tense, also if it is in past tense, you have to use past tense only in the subordinate clause. So here you can see sentences are given or examples are given. He says that he will do it. So principal clause is in present tense and subordinate clause in future tense, right? He has said that he will do it. Here he has said is present tense, he will do it is in future tense. He said that he would do it, he said is past tense, that he would do is in past tense. So like this we have to do exercise B. If you have to check the options given here and you have to correctly choose the answer. Okay, so let us start doing exercise B. Decide which of the alternatives is more likely. First one, I think that he will or would be there. Here the sub principal clause is in present tense. So here will or would. Definitely will come, isn't it? Future tense. I think that he will be there. Second one, we hoped that they would help us. We hoped is in past tense. So they would help us. Third one, she has brought the picture so that we may see it. So that we may see it. So she has brought is the present tense, isn't it? So that we may see it is in. So you have to use may. Okay. Okay. So next one, fourth one. He thought that he could lift it by himself. Okay, he could. Fifth one, I believe that is in present tense. So what will come here? That we can win if we all do our best. Clear, children? So rest of the question 6 to 10, you do it by yourself, try it by yourself, and we will discuss it in live class. Okay. Now coming up to the next exercise, that is exercise C, add suitable tenses of the verbs given in brackets. So here you can see that as I told you earlier, that if the principal clause is in future tense or present tense, it will follow the subordinate clause it will be followed by subordinate clause which is having which shows present tense. Okay, so here also you can see in question number C, all the principal clauses are in future tense, and you have to change you have to use the present tense for subordinate clause. So let us start this exercise. Exercise C, first one, I shall wait here until he arrives, right? Second one, we must not begin he until he what will come here? Until he gives the signal. Yes. So in all the sentences, the subordinate clause should be in present tense. Okay. I shall, if the principal clause is in future tense. Okay. I shall buy it as soon as I have money. As soon as I have enough money. Fourth one, I shall believe it when he tells me himself. Fifth one, he will bring you the letter as soon as he, what is the future present tense of get? When we use he, gets. Yes, as he gets it. Sixth one, I shall be here when you come back. Yes, when you come back. Seventh one, please tell him the news when you see him. Eighth one, she is going to leave the school when she is 16, when she is 16. Next page, page number 171, the ninth question, the car cannot move until the traffic light changes to green. And the last one, she will not go unless you go with her. Clear? So this exercise is also clear to you, children. Yes, so follow the rules of sequence of tenses. Okay, our next exercise D, is on conditions. Okay, you have already studied about conditions, isn't it? So all the conditions, I hope you remember. Let me show you one slide which explains the different types of conditions. Okay, so here it is, children. So children, there are four types of conditions: zero condition, type 1 condition, type 2 condition, and type 3 condition. So you can see here columns are given here, and what will be the if clause for type 0, and the main clause when we are talking about type 0. When we are talking about type 1, what will be if the if clause or the main clause uh, is in which tense, you have to check. Then we have to sorry, if the if clause depends on the main clause, and you have to check the tense of each clause. Okay, so all is being explained here. So you can see here type 0. Okay, if the condition, that is if clause, see children, type 0 is used to talk about things that are always true, or that always happens, or normally it happens. Okay, and for type 0, if clause, if the if clause is in present tense, that is if it is in simple present, present continuous, or present perfect continuous, then the main clause should be in present tense. Let it be simple present, present continuous, or present perfect, present perfect. Okay, so here example is given: if the food is out of date, if the food is out of date, I don't eat it. Okay, so here you can see that it is true. If I have drunk, I don't drive. So these are the normal things which happens. Okay, so they comes under type 0. So always keep in mind, if clause is in present tense, main clause will be in, that is the result will be in present tense. Okay, then comes type 1. It talks about a probable event happening in the future, so which happen in future. Okay, like if clause is in present tense, if something happens, and if clause is in present tense, the main clause will be in future tense. Okay, and we use future tense, and we use can, must, might, may, all this we use. Okay, so let us see the examples. If you study, you will pass the exam. Okay, you will pass the exam. See here, future tense is there. If the you can see, if clause is in present tense, and what is the condition, event happening in future. If you study, you will pass the exam. If he doesn't call you, if he doesn't call you, tell me immediately. Okay, so these are the examples. If you have come to class, the exam is going to be easy. Okay, so you here from this you can understand that if the if clause is in present tense and type 1 is there, condition type 1 is there, you have to use the main clause in future, imperative, can, must, might, may, all this will be there. Okay, then comes type 2, and this in this type we talk about present or future unreal situations. Okay, which is not real. So if clause is in past tense, then the main clause in the main clause we have to add would, could, might and infinitive. So here example is given. If I won the lottery, past tense, okay, I would buy a yacht. If you weren't talking, I could concentrate. If I were you, I might wait before taking a decision. Clear? Now type 3 is, it talks about past hypothetical, okay, or unreal situation. And if clause, if the if clause is in past tense, that is past perfect, simple or continuous tense, the main clause will be there. You have to add would, could, might plus have plus participle, okay. Like if you had come to class, you would have passed the exam. If he hadn't been wearing a helmet, he could have died. Okay. So these are the uses of conditions where what we have to use for if clause and main if the if clause is in type 1, type 0, type 2, type 3, whatever you have to see, and according to that you have to change the main clause. Okay. So I hope this is understood to you people. Let us do our exercise given in page number 171. Okay, let us start. See here, exercise D, supply suitable tenses of the verbs given. Okay, so you have to check what the if clause is in which tense, and then you have to do or you have to write the main clause according to that. Okay, so first one is, if you dash to know, I will tell you. Okay, if you dash to know, I will tell you, that is the main clause is in future tense, isn't it? So what will be the if clause? Present tense. Yes, if you want, if you want to know, I will tell you. Second one, if you wait, I will give you the answer. If you wait is in present tense, then future tense will come, I will give you the answer. Third one, if I knew, it's in past tense, right? So if I knew, what will come here? I told you, you can add would, could, might plus plus infinitive, isn't it? If I knew, I would tell you. Yes, if I knew, I would tell you. Fourth one, if I dash a lottery, if I win a lottery, I should not know what to do with the money. Fifth one, if you dash your homework last night, you would not have to do it today. What will come here? If you had done your homework last night, you would not have to do it today, right? Sixth one, if we, what will come here? If we had known, okay, past perfect, if we had known that you were coming, we would have been at home. We would have been at home. Yes. So children, 7th 8th is your homework. You do it by yourself, try to do it by yourself, and the answers we will discuss, this questions we will discuss in the live class, right? So I hope children, this all these exercises are clear to you, and you understood how to use the sequence of tenses and all. So any doubt, you do ask me in the class, we will discuss it, okay, and we will sort it out. Okay children, do the homework. Thank you so much.